Hi, Chef Francis from Sabio, and I want to talk to you guys today about our new format and our inaugural Marigold menu. So as you may or may not know, we are refining the Sabio Experience, and we are now offering 3 menus exclusively for our indoor dining. We are offering a 3-course, 5-course, both of those are prefixed menus with choices throughout, and then our chef's 10-course menu, the very popular menu we've been serving from almost day one, will also be available, same with 24 hours notice. But I want to take the time today to discuss kind of the approach that I took to the current menu and how this approach is going to feed into the menus moving forward for the rest of the year. So our inaugural menu is titled the Marigold menu. Each menu will be named after a different flower. And we're not getting away from our basic approach at Sabio as far as how we think about dishes and work with our farmers and ranches and work with the seasons. But this menu in particular is a little bit tricky. This is one of the hardest times to cook, I feel, as far as produce goes, because we're kind of seeing some of those winter staples, like the citrus and the root vegetables and some of the crucifers start to see their way out, but we're not quite at spring yet. So there's a little bit of tricky time. I call this kind of a shoulder season, but it doesn't mean that there aren't some exciting ingredients that we're able to get our hands on. Some of the things that you're going to see now, you think green, and that's really the ingredients that are coming out. Our local asparagus season is just starting, so we're getting some beautiful asparagus from the Sacramento Delta just over the Altamont Pass. And then spring garlic. It's one of the first harbingers of spring, knowing that it's right around the corner. So spring garlic is garlic itself, but the bulbs haven't quite set their cloves yet. So you'll see very small bulbs, and then you have a long green stalk. Sometimes it's called green garlic as well. And it has a distinct garlicky flavor, but it's not quite as spicy, not quite as peppery as a fully matured garlic, and it does have a little bit of grassiness to that. And I was able to get that from one of our farms, and it's spectacular. It almost has a little bit of sweetness to it. And what we do, we apply that into one of the choices for our first course, the spring garlic veloute. Veloute is very smooth, creamy soup, and then we serve that with some arancini, little small risotto balls that we bread, and then we fry them quickly to get crisp. And then we stuff them with a little bit of Fontina Valdosta cheese, so a little bit gooey in there. Light finish of some grassy olio nuovo from El Said olive oil in Livermore. Clean, simple, and a really approachable but fun note as far as a spring soup that's upcoming. And that soup, I think, is a good indicator of how the rest of the menu is going to fall into it. We want to think with the color green. It's spring, it's freshness, it's rebirth, clean flavors, but knowing that we're going to get into some of the more exciting seasons coming up. Strawberries are going to be right around the corner, and then the beginning of stone fruit season, which everybody loves, starting with cherries and then moving into all the apricots and nectarines and peaches, which we have some incredible partners that we've worked with for many years. So I look forward to getting those on the menu as well. Some of the other really unique ingredients that we brought in for this menu that I really encourage you to come in and try, we're now working with Wolf Ranch and Wolf Ranch Quail. They are an incredible farm just north of us, and they feature some amazing quail. I mean, quail is something that I personally really enjoy, but sometimes you'll find quail, and they're a small bird to begin with, being a game bird, but sometimes they're just so tiny, and you're just kind of gnawing on these little bones. These Wolf Ranch quail are incredibly meaty, and they just have this delicate sweetness to it that's incredible. And then we're serving that very simple, a little bit of creamy polenta, some Brussels sprouts from our friends down at Jacopi Farms that we roast in bacon fat. And then we grill the quail, and then right before we serve it, we brush it with a fermented mango and chili honey that we ferment for a week and a half, and then we reduce that down and turn it into a glaze and brush the quail. So you get a little crispiness from the skin, you get a little bit of char from the grill, and it's simple, clean flavors, but just highlighting those particular ingredients. So some of the dishes that I'm really excited about on the 5-course menu, particularly the second course. So this is going to be the course that gives you kind of those playful appetizers with those craveable ingredients, whether it's octopus or pork belly or sea urchin, kind of the chefier ingredients, but ones that we know you all love. So one of the dishes that we're serving is, we're keeping with our pork belly for this menu, but we turned it into a tostada. And we did it in the style of al pastor, but instead of using pineapple, which is traditional, we're actually using Asian pear from our friends at K&J Orchards. So we juice the Asian pears, and then we make an achiote-based marinade with that the pork belly then gets glazed in. So it goes over top of blue corn tortilla we make by hand, and then we fry that until it's crisp. Then we smear a layer of refritos, so refried beans made using borlati beans from Jacopi Farms. A couple pieces of the al pastor glazed pork belly on top of that, some shaved onion, cilantro, and then we also slice some fresh Asian pear brush it with the achiote marinade, and then grill that on top. So it has all the familiar flavors of an al pastor, but using a local seasonal ingredient. So it has a really nice tang to it, but those Asian pears also provide a little bit of earthiness that works really well with the dish. Seafood offering on that course, we're serving a galette du crabe, or a crab cake. So this is a dish that I was inspired by a chef by the name of Georges Perrier, legendary chef from Philadelphia. He's in quasi-retirement right now, but while crab cakes are popular all over the place, crab cakes are incredibly popular in the Delaware Valley, the Philadelphia region. But being a very French chef, he said, okay, you want crab cakes? This is going to be my crab cake. So essentially what it is, it's a shrimp mousse that we then fold Dungeness crab meat into, and then we sear it in a similar style to a crab cake. Serve it with sauce maltaise, which is a blood orange hollandaise, and then some of the first of the season asparagus coming out of the Sacramento Delta. So simple and clean, but it just highlights some incredible ingredients that are at the peak of their season right now. And then our vegetarian offering for course 2. This is something we've been playing around with for the last month or so, and if you've had one of our 10-course menus over the last month, you've probably come across this. We're serving mushroom strudel. So we have a partner in Tracy that cultivates oyster mushrooms for us. Deadwood Mushrooms is his company. So we slow braise those until they're tender, and then we also make a mushroom duxelle or a mushroom puree. And the two of those get wrapped in puff pastry. We bake those with just a little bit of sea salt on top until it's crispy and flaky. Serve those with some spicy mustard greens, also from Fred Hempel's farm, Green Bee Farm. And then a simple drizzle of aged balsamic and grated Parmigiano Reggiano on top. Simple, clean flavors, but really highlighting the strength of those mushrooms and of Fred's mustard greens. Another great feature that we're offering with our 5-course menu is one of the courses will always have an option of 2 pasta or pasta-like dishes. It may be an actual pasta, it may be risotto or something similar to that. But the 2 pastas that we're offering right now are incredible. We're really excited about them. And both pastas actually feature produce from one farm, and that's one of our longest farming partners in Fred Hempel at Green Bee Farm. We always will have an option of one of those pastas to be vegetarian, and then the other one will either contain some land animal protein or possibly seafood. But the 2 that we're serving this menu, the first one, which features the spigriello from Green Bee Farms. Spigriello, it's an Italian heirloom vegetable. It's commonly grown in southern Italy, and it's somewhere between broccoli and spinach and broccoli rabe. It's very reminiscent to me of broccoli rabe, which is one of my favorite vegetables. Not quite as bitter and not quite as spicy. You're almost going to get a little bit of sweetness. But taking that inspiration from the broccoli rabe, we do a very classic preparation of orecchiette pasta, so that literally translates to little ears. And then we make our sweet Italian pork sausage, and then we fold in the spigriello, a little bit of roasted garlic puree, and then top it off with some ricotta salata cheese and then a Calabrian chili pangrattato. So it just gives a little bit of warmth to it. But like I said, classic combination, very common in southern Italy. And then our other pasta, our vegetarian pasta, this menu, is a tagliatelle, but we're using Waltham butternut squash, also from Fred's farm, Green Bee Farms. So we slow roast the squash until it's super creamy, brush it with a little bit of butter and brown sugar, and then make a puree with it. And we cook the fresh pasta, and then we toss that pasta with the puree, a little bit of pasta water to make a nice crema. And then we finish off the pasta with some toasted black walnuts, pecorino toscano. It has a little bit of white truffle in there, and then some crumbled sage. And just it's earthy and sweet in all the right ways. And I really like the fact that we were able to source 2 really distinct products from the same farm and then apply them to our 2 pasta dishes. And it's not a coincidence that Fred is a huge fan of pasta and Italian food. Another thing that we really are stepping up on with this menu and all menus moving forward is our dessert program. I think our dessert program I've always been very proud of, but I think this is a great opportunity to really step it up. And I can assure you that almost every time you will be seeing a donut on there, so don't worry about that. But the donuts that we're serving this menu are really fun, and the timing makes a lot of sense. So we're doing Irish coffee and donuts. We take our donuts, we make them a little bit smaller because this is intended for a single serving, but then we give you a few more and we put them on a skewer, toss them with a little bit of brown sugar, and then you get a sidecar of a creme anglaise sauce made with Story Coffee Company coffee, and then we top it off with chantilly made with Redbreast Irish whiskey. So you get all the familiar flavors of an Irish coffee and a fun donut application. Our star dessert, our chocolate dessert for this menu, we're doing a Valrhona chocolate and gianduja cake. So gianduja is an Italian term for chocolate and hazelnut, and this is a layered cake. We start off with a chocolate sponge, And then there's a fun, crunchy layer in between that has some toasted hazelnuts, a little bit of fouilletine, and some praline. And then a dark chocolate cremeux on top of that, and finished with a mirror glaze, so it just gives you a really bright, clean appearance of the chocolate. And then to kind of cut through everything, a little scoop of Little Giant Rilladilla vanilla ice cream that we've been using for quite some time. And then, with this time being a little bit challenging for fruit, this is usually the time of year that I look a little bit further south or look towards the tropics to kind of inspire some of the desserts. So we're doing another very clean, very simple, but very decadent dessert in a passion fruit bomb. So we take passion fruit and we puree it, and then we make a mousse with that, and then we set that into a mold, put a base of a ladyfinger sponge cake, and then we glaze the whole bomb with a white chocolate glaze and set it on top of some fresh passion fruit as well. So it gets really nice tanginess from the passion fruit, but the mousse and the white chocolate offer some creaminess and a little bit of sweetness too. So it's light, but also very substantial and satisfying at the same time. So we're really excited about the new refined version of Sabio. We're still the same restaurant that you've come to love. We're still sourcing incredible seasonal ingredients and working with all our regional partners, but we really feel this is an opportunity to take us one step further. From the beginning, both Jim and I have always said we are going to be perpetually evolving, never resting on our laurels, and this is just another step in that direction. We're really looking forward to seeing familiar faces and then a lot of new faces. We're very excited about this transition, and we hope you are too. Hope to see you soon.